What a morning. Welcome back to the All-Purpose Pod for an all-purpose life, wherever you are and however you're listening to the Call Me Mr. You, the podcast. We thank you again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week. We're your weekly mirror check before you go change the world. We are in the house this morning. Herb's in the house, man. Technical issues aside, this is a great morning, man. How you doing today?
I'm afraid to talk because I don't know what's going to happen. Like, stuff that was working stopped working like 2 seconds before we got on air. So
oh man, never a dull moment in this realm of live podcasting, man. I mean, so many folks that want to do this, I'm like, yeah, are you ready for all the emotional highs and lows that go with this? Are you sure you want to do this? You just never know what's going to happen. But how's the weather out there by you, man?
It's still pretty good. It's still pretty good. We're in the late stages of summer, so everything is looking good. Enjoying it. Still too hot at times, but I know I start complaining about that. It'll be freezing the next day, so I'll just take what we got right now.
I didn't think y'all got anything that was even close to freezing out there, but okay.
Well, freezing it for us is different. Like, it don't take a lot to be freezing for us because it's always so hot.
Copy that. Yeah, they got us in the zone right now, the hurricane. So, bro, I had to get sandbagged after this show was over with. But
be safe out there, man. Be safe.
We'll see how that goes, man. But got some folks chiming in this morning already. My man's in the house with the roll tide. I know Roger's out there. Don't let Roger, this man upstage you now. I know you want to get your roll tide, and you usually the first one to get it in.
Yep. Of course, my title towels is across the room. I didn't have it set up yet, but yes, that's what Whitwell Sports is, a title towel guy. Supplies us all our title towels. Yep.
Okay, the chief supplier.
Yes,
I like
sir.
that.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it is hot, brother. Without question. All right, so before we get into our show stuff, which is we got plenty of it. Quick shout out. As you can see, our show dynamic has changed a little bit. Our guy Bo is out doing some different things for his podcast brand of shows and stuff, and he has been gracious enough to put a post out on Twitter asking if anybody wants to step into the place that he held. Not sure you can replace him in actuality, but at the very least, bring in somebody who is down to talk sports every Monday morning. So if you guys have an interest in your listening, or you know somebody who is free, I don't mean it in their closet at work. I don't want to put nobody in job jeopardy. I'm talking like if you're actually free for an hour and a half.
Sitting in the middle of a meeting whispering, yeah, guys, I think I mean,
that's not what we want. Because then we're going to hear everything. Your boss can yell at you, say, you're fired. We're going to hear all that on the air. I don't want any of that to happen. So if you're actually free for about 2 hours, from maybe 8:30 to 10:30 Monday morning, and you want to be a contributor on the show, perhaps even be a long-term fit, you'll meet with Herb and I, and we'll work that out and see if that makes sense. But hit us up privately, Facebook Messenger, or DM us on Twitter. Or if you got our numbers, contact us. Let us know you want to be a part of the show, and we'll work out how that looks. So that's just a shout out, and hopefully Herb remind me to do that again at the end of the show. You can do it for us. Wynn's in the house. Good morning. How's it going over there? Hope the weather's good where you are. It's not looking to be great projected where we are. I got the Weather Channel on in the background. I'm like, I got to watch everything. I'm like, oh boy. When Jim Cantori comes down to your neck of the woods, it's usually not a good thing.
So if the show ends suddenly, I know what happened.
It would be because things is crazy. But I think we got a little bit more time. But today could be it, boy. My old hometown of Tampa is getting blitzed right now, so they're getting tore down out there. So it's like it's not cute in Florida. It's all coming this way. So it may not even touch you at all, man. But it's definitely coming this way for sure. All right, so we got a lot going on. So some few NFL updates we can talk about before we could get into our new segment. But Trent Williams is holding out. I didn't even know that. I just caught that this morning. So Trent Williams is holding out. He ain't doing a thing until he gets his new contract, which I guess makes sense. I mean, arguably he's the best LT in the game. I don't know anybody that's better than him. I think he's earned his weight in gold. So for him to hold out, it's kind of saying a lot. But he should be the Niners got some big problems on their hands financially. We knew it was going to be coming, but I didn't think it'd be coming this quick. But it's happening already. Brandon Ayuk is holding in. He's at camp, but he's not stepping 1 foot on the grass. So there's no continuity with him and getting adjusted to what they're doing now this year. So 49ers have a few issues going on. Have you heard about any of those?
About the holdout with Williams?
Yeah, both of them.
Yes. I mean, no news. It is, and like we've continued to say, like you've got one less shot really before you really got to start paying a whole lot of people. It just seems like get something done here. You know, like if you're going to pay Williams and even like trade Ayuk, like this whole thing needs to be done. This is not the kind of things you're a championship contender. You know, like we're making a list where they got to be top 5, right? Easily for the Super Bowl list, I would think.
Yeah.
I hate when people say easily, but I still feel like easily, you know, top 5. Yeah. So it's like get something done. These are not the kind of things you want to start off your season, man. Get your guys stuff done, get your guys happy, and make this run at it, you know, before things really get bad. You know, once you start adding Brock Purdy's deal to the mix, like
he's coming up?
I want to say next year or two, right? Purdy's gonna have to get paid.
Oh, I thought he was there for a while. Okay. Wow. Okay. They got problems coming. They got problems.
And even if it's 2 years off, you gotta think about it. But I'm pretty sure his is coming up soon.
He don't seem to be the kind of guy that would hold out, and he don't seem to be the guy to do that one. So if he has 2 years left, he'll probably play it out. But
he probably will. But with the way the quarterback market is going, it would help them to maybe get it done sooner rather than later. Like they waited a lot. You see so many people around the league that waited, and now they're really paying for it. You know, had they did Tua's deal a year earlier, had they done Jordan Love's deal a year earlier, both of those would not be getting paid what they're getting paid right now. That's the only reason why I say that.
That's absolutely correct. I don't know why they didn't do that. We talked about it a little bit on the show. Now you got Purdy. I mean, he'll be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL under the right circumstances. Like, could you envision that? That's hard to picture. This money thing is weird to me.
It is. Purdy is a year away from being eligible for an extension. So,
oh boy,
yeah.
Oh boy,
yeah.
All right,
it's coming up quick.
So I don't know if Bo is cheering for this news, but it's about his boy from the Seahawks, Quandre Diggs. I didn't know that he got picked up. He's with the Titans on a 1-year deal, which presents a couple of questions for me. One, he's back with Jamal Adams. Is that going to be a good thing? Because when they were in Seattle, it didn't seem to be that great. Not the way Bo saw it. So now they're together back with the Titans on a 1-year deal, though. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised by that one. He's not old. He's been relatively healthy. Probably the second best cornerback on the market. But the Titans gave him a 1-year deal. What do you think about that, man?
It feels like the Titans made a certain amount of pickups, and they really aren't sure how the whole thing's going to come together, how Levis is going to be. It's almost like they're just operating in the short term. Like, let's see what we got next year before we really start committing to a whole lot. Let's see how our division shakes out. You know, it's like, and Diggs was he our second or third best guy we were talking about with free agents last week, excuse me. So yeah, going out and picking it almost just feels like they're still in like, you know, if Levis is great, then maybe we'll commit to everybody else and kept going. And if he's not, we're really not worried about it. It's a mini rebuild, you know what I mean? And we're going to be looking. Yeah. So it just feels like they're still trying to feel things out with a deal like this.
Yeah, this is the kind of team I don't know all the financials. I haven't seen the salary cap. I'm trying to pull it right now, but it feels to me like, or they have one of the highest caps out there, and they're in the negative with their money. So perhaps that plays a part in that. They're like negative $9 million, 9.6 million. They're negative. So that could play a part here. This is the kind of team that needs to be doing some stuff because they really underachieved in a lot of ways. Recently, Levis is the future. I guess they have committed to that, at least publicly. But they got to do some stuff back there. So having him for a 1-year deal is not a bad thing, but it's like, wow. I didn't expect him to bring Jamal Adams in either. That was like almost like
well, and I guess the more I think about it, bringing in Pollard, Ridley, Boyd, I mean, they've spent some money, or at least gone after some different guys in free agents. So it really does feel like they're thinking they can make a run at it this year, and then they're just going to kind of see what happens. So
when you hear those names roll off of your lips, do you feel like that's what's happening? Those
like if it was like 3 or 4 years ago, I might be like, okay. But at this point, I'm and then your skill positions you spent some money in, but like, Pollard didn't have a great year last year. Ridley, that's my boy, and I hope Travis isn't listening. He didn't have a great year last year. The reports in camp are Levis is doing great, but what do reports from camp mean? You know what I mean? Like, until I see it for a whole regular season, I don't know. So it's and your division's no slouch with Houston and Jacksonville, and Indianapolis. So it's gonna be interesting.
If you look at this is why, and this is the thing about the predictions. I'm probably going to get into that a little later because I don't like what I hear with these preseason predictions. Like, where are they getting this from? It feels kind of like it's lazy to me, like it's lazy journalism. They kind of take what happened last year and make a few tweaks, so they don't have to do that much work because it's almost identical to last year. I'm like, you think nothing has changed? All those teams at the bottom, something has changed back there, but they all in the exact same place. I'm like,
because you got to have at least 1 or 2 teams that made the playoffs, not make the playoffs. You got to have somebody slide in. Like, something's going to come around. Injuries really decimated a lot of teams last year, so especially at the quarterback position. So,
absolutely,
it could be wide open this year.
Yeah, and the Bucks, Tristan Wirfs. I mean, I like him. I didn't really think about him being on the elite level. I guess it never really just crossed my mind. Maybe I just missed it, but he's the highest paid lineman in NFL history right now, which doesn't mean much until next week,
Right.
All of a sudden that changed, but 5 years, $140.5 million.
Yeah. It's interesting for a team I don't think is really going anywhere, but it's like
you can't tell them that.
I mean, like for him, go get paid, man. But you're gonna be miserable, I think, in 3 years, maybe 2 years. I just don't see where they're headed. But you win a division and your fortunes kind of change. So I get it.
They think he's the last piece in the championship puzzle. I'm like, interesting. So they got Evans.
We're looking at the wrong box then. Like we're looking at the wrong puzzle. The Tampa Bay could win the division. That's what I would say.
I'm with that.
That's about as far as I would take it.
Yeah, that's really high praise. Like I said, I don't think Wirfs is bad. To be honest, when he was in the draft, I thought about him like, man, it'd be nice to have him, but I guess I didn't see since then what would warrant this kind of deal. But O-line guys they're hard to come by, and when you got a solid one, you got to go ahead and take care of them. How about Jalen Johnson and the top 100 snub? The video at the press conference, he name dropped Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, what an interesting approach to that's an interesting realm to go into. Talking about you being snubbed and out of all the names, you think about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. First off, some of these lists, like, I don't know why. I mean, I guess if I was in them, maybe I'd take it personally, maybe I would. But yeah, I don't know why I don't know why that's the first one. And I don't know why you would say it either. So I mean, some of these guys need a director on stage and they need somebody yelling, cut. Look, we're gonna reshoot that part right there.
Nobody said cut. They're continuing to keep talking.
Yeah.
That was not that Aaron Rodgers sometimes he does it to himself, but in this case, that wasn't cool. I mean, because if you be honest about it, if you had to make a list right now of the top 100 players, I think Rodgers would be on your list, even though he got injured and played 4 games last year.
Right.
He's still being this as the top 100 players, right? Wouldn't he?
Yeah.
So that was not called for. Maybe somebody else in that list we can find. Maybe somebody else out here that's listening can find somebody in the list that you can talk about instead of him, because that's not cool. But Rod, good morning, man. Thank you for being out there and man in the comment section the way you always do. Hope all's well with you. Roll Tide, baby. All right. And Wynn said she hadn't looked outside yet. Okay, I don't know where you are, but hopefully you are in a good spot. Please look outside, just in case. Oh my goodness. Wynn says she's so tired of Princess Aaron. Oh my goodness.
Now, 2 things can definitely be true. Yeah, do I think he's still in the top 100? Yeah. Am I also tired of all the stuff surrounding him? Yeah. It's like it's gone full diva mode in the last couple of years. I'm like, can we just get to the field and play? You know, like everything has to do with all this other stuff and missing practice for whatever reason and strange stuff. Like, I never seen a guy miss a whole year and still get this much pub. It's crazy.
And he didn't even mention his own name. So somebody else mentioned his name for him, which is like, now this is on in the cycle now. Why? We're trying to keep like Wednesday, we're trying to keep him out of the news. We don't want him to just play ball. If Jets going to the Super Bowl, okay. Just go ahead and do that part. Not this other side stuff, but it is what it is. But this is your moment, brother. I'm handing the reins over to you on this one. Alabama in their season. I heard several things about this in regards to that. We got a lot of Alabama folks out here, so please, Whit and Raj, please chime in there. Win and also chime in, please. So the question was laid out there that would Alabama season be successful without a title in it? And I had a lot of questions about some of their guys and some of the guys that transferred out. But I want to put that question to you out there first, and then we start breaking down the board, his time at Washington, and the stats that he's bringing to the table in this situation. I know he's not Saban; he can't be Saban, so that's just reality. But a lot has changed on the team as far as personnel goes. So to answer that question, how would you answer that? I don't know if I'm hoping you guys keep the fandom out of it and kind of just get down to what you really believe. Because sometimes we can be as fans, we kind of believe what we want to believe. But in this case, is Alabama's season successful without a national championship?
Yeah. I think the thing that people are like, would we be disappointed if we don't win a championship? Of course. But I think any team with title aspirations, I mean, the way the playoff was set up, if you're like with a top 10, top 15 team, if you don't win the whole thing this year, aren't you going to be disappointed? Yeah. So I think the same thing holds true. But if we don't win, can it still be a success? Yeah. What if he wins the SEC in his first year, second round playoffs, third round playoff, or, something like that. Saban didn't win the title in his last year, his last 3 years. So we're going to say the new guy has to beat the GOAT his very first year? No. Now, I think with the talent that he has here in the next 5 years, if we didn't get a title, we'd probably be like, I mean, the pieces are there, but, the landscape's also changing. But to this very specific, I agree with Roger. If we make the playoffs this year, I think that's a really great start, and that's a successful season, and I think it's something to build on. He's replacing what arguably the greatest coach of all time. I don't think you can say, if you don't win the title this next year, it's, what are we going to do?
That makes sense. I think most of the comments I'm hearing so far, that makes sense to me. Making the playoffs is a successful season. He's coming in, and we talked about Washington a lot, especially when they were in the championship title game and everything. But there was some challenges with their run game over in Washington. I think they averaged about 4.3 yards a carry, and that wasn't great. They couldn't get past 4.5 yards in like 11 of their games. So there was definitely some struggles out there with that. I know Alabama had a little bit too on the ground, but this is like, did you guys think about that at all when he came over as a replacement for Saban? Did you think about the kind of ship he ran in Washington? Were there any concerns for you guys as Bama fans when he came over?
No.
The board?
First off, he just had a lot of my respect for wanting to replace Saban, because, I mean, there were already videos out where Funny Man made my favorite one where he was like showing the coin toss, and they were like, the first time he loses a coin toss, like, heads or it's tails. Oh, man, get the new coach out of here. Stuff like that. So he's already got my respect just for coming over, because I was like, I said this before this ever retirement camp. I said, next coach to come in after Saban is getting fired after 3 years. So, that's what I mean, it was kind of joking to kind of have, No, not with DeBoer. I feel like he's definitely got a championship pedigree. He was taking Washington in probably one of the best years of the Pac-12. He got into the championship game, beat a tough Oregon team twice. I thought their team played really well, So I think here they've already made improvements with the line. We've got 3 to 4 really good running backs that probably, a lot of people haven't heard of, but I think Alabama fans are familiar with. So I feel like his run game is going to be much better, and his offensive system will be much better. So I expect the offense to be better than what it has been in recent years for Alabama.
Okay. Okay, I like that.
Well,
Got the his comment. Yeah, he said the team got better as the season went along. Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, I didn't watch enough Bama games to kind of see everything. We just saw stuff, mainly in the postseason and with Washington as well. But there's been a lot of changes with what's going on with personnel on you guys' squad. I know I heard it many times on your show. You guys have said it then so much about he should have been there to be interviewed by you guys. But you mentioned Caleb Downs a lot on your show, and him transferring out. Now, are you expecting more to pick up the production for him, or that's something that has to be done by somebody else? How you feel about the Downs transferring out? Is there any reason why he did that aside from the?
We don't mention Downs a lot on our show. You probably listened to the Ohio State show, and he brought up. We don't mention the names of the people that.
I heard Rob mention his name a couple of times.
No, like maybe right when we didn't know what was going on with him, but the second he left, that was it. So I'm not thinking about it. Kudos to Ohio State. I honestly thought if he left here, he would have gone to Georgia. But other than that, yeah, I'm not sweating.
Why do he need you guys? You guys have a outstanding program. Can I ask you about him now? Is that okay?
I mean, if you want to, but I don't know much about his time at Ohio State, so I really have no idea how he's fitting in there or whatever. I
don't care about what's happening at Ohio State. That franchise can get submarine. I don't care. I'm asking, why did he leave Alabama?
He got offered more money at Ohio State, and we had a coaching change. So I'll give him credit. He stayed around long enough to at least meet DeBoer and do that. But, from a Georgia source, Ohio State offered him 3 times as much money per month as Georgia was offering him. So, everybody got outbid for him.
Shame on me. I can't watch all. I keep up with Alabama. I can't watch all the games. Oh my goodness, that's funny. Good morning, Daily Joy. Great,
Daily Joy. She kicked off our summer series of having different teams on there. She was an LSU representative, and surprisingly enough, got into it. Well, she didn't get into it. An Oklahoma fan got into it with her, so that was
really
very interesting. Yes, don't ask me why. The Oklahoma fan had her on his episode. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, Air Raid Mike decided to go after her on the show that morning, so it was very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah,
I need to call him asking what his problem is.
When he had her on his show, it was all good. And then all of a sudden she came on our show and it was nothing but attacks. It was very strange.
I don't get it. That's not a pairing that I hear very often. LSU and Oklahoma. Is that a real thing? Or
we were as surprised as anyone. So we were sitting there like, what is going on right now? So
well, Daily Joy, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it so much. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. Why am I getting so much attention about this? I'm not. Am I expected to watch Bama? Some of my best friends in the world are Bama fans, but what they got to do with me?
No, that's not where this is going. It's like you brought up something that like we don't really care about anymore. So that's why you're gonna get that kind of reaction from Alabama fans.
Okay. So my other question that I asked, I didn't get an answer to that one yet. I asked that again there. So is more picking up the production in your opinion, or is that happening? Somebody else you're looking at that you expect to kind of take the place of the person who shall remain nameless on the show?
I mean, I think the defense overall is going to take it up. I didn't answer that question because you start off with Caleb Downs, and don't make it sound like I avoided the question. Take a little dig at the question I wasn't avoiding your question. We went a different direction, man. Goodness.
I know we did because the comments are taking me. I can't watch all the Bama games. We good.
We're not even asking you to watch Bama games, but if you make up somebody who left that nobody cares about, that's what you're gonna get. So
it says shame on me. That's what that says.
Yeah. But I also think because Malachi Moore is kind of playing every position for us. I think Sab is also gonna to step in there. We got Damani Jackson playing at the corners. So I think it's gonna be an overall production issue. They've been really happy with Sab.
Okay.
As well as the way he's gonna fit into. So I think the defense will be fine. I think the coaching staff is much better than what we've had in recent years too, as well. So I think it'll be an overall thing.
Okay. Well, I said surprisingly, I agree with her. Bama will have one of the best O lines along with Jan Miller and Justin Haynes. Shouldn't have any trouble running the ball. Okay, I agree with that assessment. Herb.
Yeah. Like I said, I really like our running backs, and I think if we have a better commitment to them, I think it'll be a good season. So,
all righty then.
But the biggest thing is just going to be on Jalen Milroe and his production. That's kind of where your season lies. I've said this several times. There's a reason why the two quarterbacks after him did not transfer out. They still think they got a shot at it, 2 years in a row. So Milroe has a lot of pressure on him. It's a new offensive system. They're expecting great things. The running back room is solid. I understand the wide receivers are not proven names, but there's a talented group there. I don't think they just got enough opportunities last year, to be honest. Milroe was not a great passer last year. They look at his deep ball numbers. He could hit the deep ball great, but he couldn't hit, anything in the intermediate areas. So I put more pressure on our offense and Milroe on the other side of the ball. I think the coaching staff is very solid for the defense, and I think they've plugged in several names that are going to help as far as the defense goes. So,
okay,
yeah, and Malachi Moore would be a star right now, I feel, if not for injuries. They have slowed his season down like every year, So I have full confidence in him stepping in, one of the captains of the team. But if he stays healthy for a whole year, then yeah, they'll be fine.
What year is he in? Second year?
It's like his fourth. He's been there a minute. Yeah.
Oh, wow. He's going to come out of it then. Okay.
Yeah.
So I see that you guys bought Bernard in.
Yep. He was the star of the spring game, probably on offense. Well, after running backs, he was one of the stars. So Jeremy Bernard, the Germinator, as Raj calls him. So.
All right, Wayne, have a good one. Thanks for joining the show. We appreciate you. See you soon. Okay. So he had to live with being in Rome's shadow in Washington. So now he's
right
up to potentially be the wide receiver one. You like him in that spot?
Yeah, I did. Like I said, it's limited stuff I've seen him in because I'm like you. Like I watch my team first. I don't watch a whole lot of Washington except for maybe some playoff games. So and then you're behind the top 10 pick. But no, from what we've seen of him, especially in the spring game, like great hands, great after the catch. Like I'm excited to see what he can do.
All right, we got a nice little toy to play with there. I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get to a few bold predictions in the NFL. We're in football mode, and I intend to stay there. Everything that was Major League Baseball related, WNBA got scrapped. So we're here. So surprise team in the AFC and a surprise team in the NFC. You want to go first? Or you want me to go?
I'll go first on one. You go first on the other. Just tell me what you want to do, boss man.
You can go first, Raj. If you got a surprise AFC team, don't pick the Dolphins, okay? That's not going to be a surprise. Pick somebody else beside Miami and a surprise team in the NFC, and just some quick reasons why you think that is. If you can drop it in the comment section, and I'll read it on the air for everybody. But surprise team, how about you can go ahead and go first with the AFC, and I'll come behind the AFC, and then we'll do NFC together last.
I went AFC. I went with the Colts because of a whole season of Richardson. I'm interested to see that. Actually, you know what? As I'm sitting here, you know what? I'm not going to do my first choice for AFC because I feel like that's going to be yours. I'm not going to steal it. So I'm going to go with the Colts.
Just say what you want.
I'm going to go with the Colts because of a full season of Richardson.
Right.
The division's going to be interesting with the Titans, with Jacksonville, Houston playing a first place schedule. So that'll be interesting. So there's an opportunity there for them to maybe slip into something or be dead last in the division. And I look really stupid for this pick. So I'm going to go with the Colts.
So I gotta pull up the depth chart, but the Colts, they had their backup was Minshew, right?
Yes.
So he's not there anymore.
Right.
So now I gotta know before I say the next thing. I want to find out who's behind Anthony Richardson. I forgot all about that. Joe Flacco.
Really? Joe's starting the year? So my whole surprise pick basically comes down to if Richardson lasts the whole year or not. And it's good.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of support today.
I might not deserve it. I might not deserve it.
you haven't earned it, but I'm gonna give it to you because having Flacco behind Richardson is not. It's kind of a genius move. That's kind of smart. To be honest, do you want Flacco or you want Minshew back there? To be honest,
Oh, I definitely want Flacco over Minshew. Yeah, I feel like he'll be steadier.
Yeah, you see the season that he had with the Browns. That makes sense. That's actually a great thing. Your prediction needs to happen though. He needs to be healthy the entire season.
Basically.
But Flacco being back there, that's really good. That's an upgrade to me from what they had with Minshew.
I agree. I agree. I said what I said about Gardner Minshew last year. Like for a 2 to 3 game stretch, he'll be like balling out. But then when you ask him to get to 6 and 7 games, it's like, guys, I ain't got that much left in the tank for a whole season. So no.
Yeah, that's problematic. But my surprise team in the AFC is going to be Pittsburgh. It's a surprise even to me because that's not
who I thought you were going.
I feel like they already. I feel like they're already in the hunt, so to speak. Right. What they did, if you read some articles, people are saying that the Chargers were rebuilding. I'm like, I don't really think that's what's happening.
They got the Chargers or the Steelers.
I'm talking about the Chargers in reference to who you might have thought I was going to say.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
But they're not rebuilding though. That's not a rebuilding team. They got some guys out, put some new guys in. That's not rebuilding though. They got some of the same nucleus. Well, running back has changed with Eckler, but that's not really some kind of almost like a lateral move almost to some degree. But yeah, I don't think it's a surprise. I'm expecting them to compete in that division. Look at it.
Right, but I think surprised because they missed the playoffs and last year was a bad year, so I think that's why I would have picked them as surprise because I do expect them to compete. Coaching staff change, maybe philosophical change. Don't know if they did enough on the skill position, I guess, a wide receiver because it seems like they lost a lot, but I feel like just those changes and a healthy Herbert for a whole year, maybe things change. That's why I thought they would be your surprise. That's why I went with my number 2.
I kind of feel like they got a lot. There's a lot that's going to be happening with this. I'm gonna stay back off some stuff. But I don't know about Johnston. I'm not hearing great things. I'm like, dude, you went really high. You got to step it up.
Yeah.
Now they got guys like Josh Palmer who's consistent, but he ain't no number one.
Right.
You got Lab Monkey coming in. I don't know what's going to happen. If anybody can use that kind of talent though, Harbaugh can. But I only had opportunity to pick one team. I mean, we can keep on doing this. I had to pick one, so I picked Pittsburgh. They made the playoffs last year with a 25th ranked offense, which is like almost unheard of. 10-win team, and their quarterback play was awful. We talked about it on the show. You know what it was. It was not. It was horrific. So they can conceivably have 2 more wins with having Russ or Justin Fields or both of them back there. So if TJ Watt stays healthy, there's reason to believe that the defense is going to be good or better than it was last year, which I totally agree it's going to be better. They finished 6th best in scoring last year, so I'm like, they got a new OC, Arthur Smith. I think he has his place. He didn't do great where he was last year, but I think in this situation, it's a better system. I think it's more suited for what he likes to do best. They got a talented running back tandem out there, which you want Najee to stay healthy, man. That's the biggest thing. But the defense is strong. They improved it through the draft, and they've won games based on defense alone every single year for several years now. And that's kind of probably the main reason why Tomlin had the record in the history that he has right now, because of the defense. It's not because of the offense. When Big Ben was there, offensively initiated, but since Big Ben left, it's been all defense. So I feel like these guys, they're not being picked to do anything beyond maybe just be in the playoffs. I think these guys could potentially go deeper than that because of the improvements that they made. But
I think their division's also going to be a rough one too. I think that's probably part of it as well. Browns, Bengals, Ravens. So that's going to be interesting. But that year, I mean, it's 100% correct. If they solve the quarterback position, I think everything else is in play there. So do you believe enough in
easy surprise team in the NFC? Do we have the same team there?
I don't know. I mean, I was just looking through the standings. I'm like, what would actually be a surprise if they actually did well? And I don't know if I say my surprise team, am I saying they're making the playoffs? No, but I think they'll be better than what they were last year. I went with the Bears. So I think they, the number one draft pick with the quarterback, they added way more talent in 1 year than Fields ever had the whole time he was there.
Ooh.
I just think they'll be scary. Will the defense slow people down enough? Who knows? But the division is not going to be that tough, I don't think, outside of Detroit. So I think there's an opportunity there to make some noise. So I went with the Bears.
Oh my goodness, I did as well. See, this is where I'll talk about the predictions again. I'm probably going to talk about this 3 more times before the show closes out because these predictions are not working for me. I'm at the point where I'm ready to ban myself from looking at these because it's just lazy. Everything is still the same as it was last year. You haven't really made any real changes and moved anybody around. You got the Chiefs in the same space as if nothing, like nothing's changed. You got the Giants is in the same place. Like, did anything change? Did we do anything to move? They got teams above us that shouldn't be there. It's kind of just I don't understand what's happening. So it's all on paper anyway. No games have been played, but the Bears are a team that very few people are talking about as far as massive improvements. They got most of these so-called predictors got the Bears in the bottom 5. Again, I'm like, can you do that? Even on paper, can you really do that based on paper? I don't think you can do that. You can't have them in the bottom 5 of this league now. They made too many improvements. On paper, no games have been played. We haven't seen on the field how it's going to gel together, the chemistry, etc. But you can add them in the bottom 5. But I think the addition of Shane Waldron, we discussed it several weeks ago. The coach came over from Seattle. He has a knack for kind of modernizing the offense. I think that's going to help Caleb. I think he needs that because of how Caleb is. So I think Waldron's going to be an MVP. Even though he can't get an award for that, he's going to be one of the coaches going to make a difference on this team. You got a very talented offense, man. I mean, you got DJ Moore still there. Just got a deal, so he's happy. He's enthusiastic, hopefully. Cole Kmet, understated tight end, but he's been solid. Keenan Allen, beside injury issues in San Diego and Los Angeles,
yeah.
It's like the talent is there, man. If he's the wide receiver 1 at all, you in business. You definitely in business. You got DeAndre Swift came over again. Right. Somebody who has
Swift. Yeah.
You can see it, but it's like if he's healthy, man, it's going to be amazing. Will Madunza, I mean, that kid got it, man. I mean, I would have taken him if Neighbors wasn't available. I wouldn't even blink the eye. Like, thank you. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Montez Sweat back there on the defense. It should improve these 3 to 4 games, I think. They got I think they got easily a double-digit schedule. I don't know how tough their schedule is, but I think I looked at it and I saw at least 10, 11 wins based on who they were playing. So people may not want to agree with that, but they got a fantastic supporting cast, and Caleb got everything you'd want out there. And on defense is not too bad on defense either. I think they got some opportunities. There's some guys whose names you don't really know, but if they're solid in any way, I mean, Jalen Johnson's name we just got finished talking about earlier in the show. He's definitely a player at cornerback. Got Kevin Byard, your boy they brought in, so you know him very, very well. PJ Edwards is back there. I mean, and Montez Sweat. Other guys you don't really may not know their names very much unless you're a Bears fan, but they got some strong pieces. So I think surprise-wise, I think nobody's picking them to win the division anyway. I haven't heard anybody do that yet. I'm hearing the Vikings still. I'm hearing all type of everything but the Bears for the most part. So that's my surprise team. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I like the pick. Like I said, your division is kind of weird. I do think Detroit takes the division, but that second spot I think is still there. I think we're probably giving Green Bay a lot of credit, but Green Bay didn't play like great all year last year, so you still have to see it consistent for the whole thing. And they made improvements, So how quickly your number 1 pick comes up to speed, that's gonna show what your year is. But yeah, I like the pick for sure. And then I'm looking at some of the other teams, and it's like, do you go out on a limb? Does Arizona put a little bit together to make a scare in that division? I don't know. There just wasn't a whole lot of other teams that I really believed in either. So, but somebody that didn't make the playoffs last year has to make the playoffs this year. Like, it's got to happen. So
pretty much. Because some teams are going back. I think Seattle's going in a different direction. I don't know if that's something that people think about or agree with. But yeah, I think that's what's happening right there. Surprise-wise, I think the Bears, they might be able to get a playoff spot depending on how things shake out.
right.
If it's that Dallas doesn't get in the playoff, which is not, you never can tell where that happens. That means the Bears' chances even better.
Yeah,
Of getting the playoffs, but we'll see. All right, so we talk about the best units in the game and wide receiver. We're gonna do this. We got so many weekly series. We got stuff to do every week. We ain't never run out of stuff. So what about new weekly series? We're gonna do the best units in the game, and we're gonna try to do that going into the regular season. And the best units in the game, we're starting with the wide receiver spot. I just went top 5 because it was so much information that it took us forever. But I picked out the top 5 that we had. The Niners, the Dolphins.
like that one.
I picked the Bears in this one, and the Texans as for top wide receivers. The top 5 units at wide receiver. Do you agree with those 5, or do you have one that you would replace and put in instead of some of those?
I feel like I have to mention the Bengals in there. Obviously this is predicated on them keeping Higgins there and happy for a whole year. And if they had been able to keep Boyd, I think it's probably an easy answer. But Chase and Higgins, that's a great duo. So I do like that one as well. Don't know if it would crack that because I can't really. This is what whenever people say top 5, and I'm like, here's the ones that I think you missed. Well, who are you replacing? I'm like, well, I like the top 5 you have, so it's not like I'm gonna throw them in there, but that'd be one. And then depending on Addison shakes out, Minnesota, I think any team with Justin Jefferson, if Addison continues to play well, that could be a tough one as well. But I particularly like the 49ers, Dolphins, and Eagles groups. So that's kind of where I started to as well before even worrying about the others. The Bears, their group on paper has one of the best. I want to see how they all play together. You know what I mean? And do we get the production? So I don't know if I give them top 5 yet just because of that. But talent-wise and group-wise, I have to, I can't argue with it. So I get their inclusion. And who was your first one? And the Texans, I guess that all depends on. Honestly, the Texans before Diggs were a good unit, probably an underrated unit. I think Diggs gives them maybe the name power, but if you look at the other guys, that's a good unit without him. Like if Diggs went down, game 1, God forbid, not trying to wish injury on anyone, but if he went down, I think they'd still be fine. Well,
I think so too. I love me some Nico Collins. We already know that.
Right.
Go, baby. I mean, he stepped up for them, and I think CJ Stroud appreciates him, and they have a solid connection with each other. I talked about Tank Dell throughout the course of the season. I mean, if he's healthy, man, he helps. He helps out, but the health was the issue.
Yeah.
Robert Woods, he's probably on the back end of his career.
Definitely.
I think at this point he's in the wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 realm, and I'm like, I'm sure it's a far departure from he was with the Los Angeles Rams. It was a far departure from that. I don't know what happened. But he can still help this team out. And then you got guys that are receiving options like Dalton Schultz, who I just love. I'm like,
I think that was a great pickup for them.
I wanted him so bad.
Yeah.
Let him go. I laughed at Dallas so much. I'm like, y'all are idiots.
Yeah.
They ain't been the same since Dalton Schultz ain't been there.
Yeah. You need that kind of safety blanket. So
Joe Mixon too, who's a pass catching threat too. So the Texans got, like you said, with Diggs, if Diggs is not there, they look pretty good.
I just don't think they have the name recognition without Diggs, and I think they would get slept on without him. I think that's really what it is. I think when you actually look at him, like, oh, that's a good group, but it's like you know what I mean? It's kind of like when we're talking about the Jamal Adams thing. There's names that kind of carry your groups, and Diggs is one of those names that carries your groups. But it's a good group. And just for the Alabama faithful, we have to mention John Mechie because we're still hoping that he gets out there and performs. Yeah. Mechie he was always a guy. Even here at Alabama, I was like, he will never be your number 1 wide receiver. Okay. But if you slide in at your number 3 spot, with Diggs in front of him or even with Dell and Collins, I think that would be a perfect spot for him. So maybe not game-breaking speed, but kind of an underneath guy or good possession guy. So I'd be fine with that for Mechie. So I have to mention that for my Alabama guy, so I hope well for him. But I like the Texans group.
Give me an NFL comp for Mitchie because I don't know.
Oh man, it's a weird one for him. He's, I guess, a little more physical. I don't want to say like a Wes Welker because there's a little bit more speed, but it's kind of like a. Oh, you have to give me a chance on that one.
Okay.
I just never think of him as like a game breaker speed. So one of his best highlights in college was Florida got an interception, and as the guys running back, Mechie lays them out, and then we recover the ball and get the ball back to save an interception. That's probably his best one. The second best one was game-winning catch against Auburn in the Iron Bowl. But we lost our number one wide receiver in that game. And Mechie really didn't do anything the whole game until overtime. All the best catches that got, it was, 10-10 going into
the end zone that we were talking about? That's the same one?
Yes.
One of the we were talking about, that was him?
Yes. On the left side of the end zone for the game winner. And yes, that was him. But I can't think of a single thing that we did before that play. So it's just, and I feel like I'm downing him. Some guys are not slotted to be your best wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of how it is. So
they can use that kind of talent over there. They don't have anybody over there beside like maybe kind of like a Tank there that you can do that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know Noah Brown at all, so I have to get up to speed on Noah Brown. I don't know what he contributes.
But the fact that you even mentioned that name just kind of shows how deep that room is too, as well. They've got a lot of bodies and names over there, so I think they're going to be fine.
There's a lot. You mentioned the Bengals, but I don't know when I look at their depth chart, I'm like, it's not beside the two names that you're thinking about,
right?
Which is Higgins and Chase. It's like there's not a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, and then I think it's when they had Boyd, that was a great 3-man group, and then losing him, and then Higgins is upset, is you're kind of like, don't know how this. And then Burrow, I don't think is 100% healthy coming into the year. It could be interesting for the Bengals wide receivers, and your offense is supposed to carry your team, so
it could be very challenging.
Yes.
Yeah, but we'll flesh out. We flesh out this series a lot more with the best units. I think the wide receiver is probably the easiest one. You kind of you kind of get by the production. The Niners are given. I think the Dolphins are up there as well. If Hill and Waddle are both healthy, only great things can result. Pass catching outside of those two guys, I don't know what's happening with that. Jonnu Smith, I don't think that he moved the needle at tight end in the receiving department.
Yeah.
Devon Agent, he's done that at running back. He's been
the running back. Yep. And then you have to mention Odell, even though we don't want to, but he is on the team.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Forgot totally. And then the Eagles have some good stuff going. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, they're obviously the main guys, and Dallas Goedert. You don't hear his name often, but you have to respect him.
Yes.
At tight end, he has a outstanding. He's a threat. Put it like that.
Yeah. He's very steady. You don't expect many bad plays from Goddard. I think that's what you're getting there for sure. So and AJ Brown clears out a lot of room.
Yeah, you almost forgot him when Ertz was on the team because Ertz was getting so much love. You almost forgot got over there too. He was there before and that's in the game as well. So yeah, but and they got Barkley now, so he's a receiving threat as well. So got a lot happening there. Let's get into our SWX. It's our new challenge. We go into the season talking about football, and this is a fantastic way for us to do that. All right, Rod said that the Metro comp would be maybe Sterling Shepard. Okay. Well, from a Giants perspective, it's not an issue anymore. I think he's moved on to, I think it was Tampa. I forgot where he went. But this guy, man, we almost couldn't even get rid of him. I mean, he was somebody we had to have him. When he was healthy, he helped us out on so many different levels. The way Herb just described Mechie, it's not quite like that. So I think maybe you mean like the immeasurables, maybe? Okay. Try to break that down for me a little bit more, Roger, if you can. But I mean, because Shep, man, he had fantastic hands. He had speed. I would say above average speed. I would say route running was above average as well, in my opinion. The only thing that he had an issue with per se was quarterback play, consistency there. It's help. He's a wide receiver. If you got to issue a quarterback play, it affects your job, So that's just kind of what I said. But flesh it out for me. What you saw there, Raj, with the Mechie Shepard comp, help me out with that a little bit more. All right, so SWX. So our new challenge, our new feature, we're gonna do it every week going into the regular season, which I think will be probably early mid-September, I guess. SWX stands for strength, weakness, and X factor. So for 4 teams every week, we're going to break down the strength, the weakness, and the X factor. We can spend more time in one area than another. We don't have to prolong some things that are pretty simple. Our teams today are going to be the Las Vegas Raiders, the New York Jets, the Washington Commanders, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right. Size, hands, and don't need to be the number one. Okay. Sounds you like him more than Herb does. Is that accurate?
Maybe. The hands thing, like at Alabama, it seems like he had great catch games or terrible ones. So, and I think because of how he came into the league, came in injured, so he missed the season. They had a battle with cancer. So we haven't seen enough of him since he's been in the league. Yeah. Okay. So that's why you have.
He's good?
Yes, he's good now. Yes, he's good now.
Okay.
But just haven't seen enough of him. Like I said, I like him sliding into like a number 2 or number 3 position. And like I said, I think sometimes people get caught up in him. I'm like, oh, he'll never be your number 1 wide receiver. That's not an insult. I mean, not everybody's going to be the guy. And teams are built on your depth, not just on your, just on your main guy. So
you have 5 number 1s. Imagine that will cost. And you got to pay them all. So
yeah.
Everybody can't be king. That's okay.
Yes.
Okay. And Raj, when we get to the New York Jets, I want you to chime in, Nick. I know you're watching them because they're in your division. If you want you to chime in on your thoughts on strength, weakness, and X factor for the Jets when you get a chance. All right, so we start with the Las Vegas Raiders. Strength, weakness, and X factor. What you got, brother?
I went strength, defensive line. Especially with them picking up Cyraj, Wilkins, and Crosby anchoring that unit. So defense overall, like when you go, we always thought of their defense as being great. I'm looking at their defensive numbers. They're more middle of the road, but I know they played better as the year went along. They won a couple games just based on defense. But I went specifically with defensive line out of that unit. But I think overall they play well. Weakness, quarterback position. There is talent in other spots, but come on, this is not a quarterback battle. Aiden Connell and Gardner Minshew. Like, if you were on that team, would you feel who winning the battle? Nobody. We kind of covered last week. I won't beat a dead horse, but that's just not a great battle. So, and their X factor, I kind of wanted to say like Adams, but I'm gonna say Brock Bowers, if he can help Adams out a lot and obviously, SEC bias here, saw a lot more Brock Bowers than I think of a lot of other people. I just think that's a weapon. And they drafted a tight end, 2 years in a row? Pretty high, 2 last year and then 1 this year in the first round this year. So that just shows you, I guess, they don't believe in the other guy. But I think that can be a weapon, especially if you have a bad quarterback. A good tight end always helps. So
copy that. Okay.
That's what I went with Vegas.
I like it. So I had the same thing as far as the strengths, D-line. I liked Malcolm Kuntz. He quietly had a strong third season in the league. Getting Christian Wilkins was a big deal. That defensive front is strong. And Max Crosby, he already had 27 sacks in 2 seasons. So he's already way past double-digit sacks already. So this is probably going to be what the Raiders want. That's kind of the image they had back in Oakland. So they want to bring that back. I think they got that going on in short order, and they got a lot of defensive guys, veteran guys back there on the defense too. That's going to help them kind of boost that. So their sack total went from 27 to 40 in the last season. So they are dramatically improving over there. Some guys, but I won't get into all the middle linebacker and stuff. But they definitely improved. O-line is the biggest weakness.
Okay.
Surprisingly, I like the quarterback, but it's so bad. It's like you have to acknowledge this. Outside of Colton Miller, I think he was drafted from UCLA. I'm not sure. I think so. But they got some problems out there. Cody Whitehead and Andrews Pete. That name you might remember because I think he went to the Saints. He was drafted to the Saints and didn't stick there, I think that's how it went down. But Whitehead had probably some of the worst lineman grades that you can have is pretty bad. And you kind of move Pete around, and he's in a position that's unfamiliar to him. He's trying to learn right tackle. He hasn't played it in 6 years. It's not going to be pretty. So I think the X factor is going to be who you said with the week. I think it's going to be Aiden O'Connell or Aiden Connell. I always say O'Connell because that's just the normal.
Yeah.
Connell.
And I don't correct you, so I'm like, yeah. That shows you how little I care.
Aiden Connell. I'm going to say his name right, whatever. But he was thrown into the fire a lot faster than he probably should have. Kind of almost reminds me of Mac Jones a little bit, what he did in New England. But he had a good game against the Chiefs. I'm talking about a stellar elite type game against the Chiefs. So you can tell that he got something. He got something there. He can make plays without having turnovers. I mean, he can do that kind of thing. It's there, but with surrounding cast and some other things, it just didn't look good long term. So if they're still rolling with him, I know they tried to move up in the draft and get a quarterback, but that kind of got revealed. But he's the X factor. If he's competent at all, it's going to be a lot better for the Raiders in that division, especially since it's obviously a room for somebody at the two spot. The Chiefs got number one lockdown. Don't think they're going to be overtaken. So you got an opportunity there to jump in. The Broncos and the Chargers are going to be fighting for it. So the Raiders got a chance there. He has some great numbers, but if he plays well, at least decently, you got that. All right. So how about the New York Jets? They got the fourth easiest schedule in the league, which is like, wow. Hand it to them on a silver platter, why don't you? All right. I'll start this one off and I'll pass it over to you. All right. So biggest strength, I got the pass defense. I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to ignore that, man. They got Sauce, CJ Mosley. I liked him since he was in Baltimore. You got Quentin Williams, serious run stopper. I mean, they got that kind of stuff. I think they first in coverage grades and sixth in pass rush grades. So they look good there. They got all the foundational pieces coming back. They're lethal, man. So
I thought CJ Mosley was going to be a lifer in Baltimore? That kind of hurt me when
I was bothered by it as well. I'm like, okay, you gonna let him go? Why?
Yeah. So
there was no good reason for it. I think they recovered well.
Right. Of course.
By getting Queen, they kind of covered a lot of that, which I think was a great pick by Baltimore. But I don't understand that one either. Biggest weakness, it's gonna be their O-line. And I feel like that's going to be a bad thing for Rodgers. I mean, he's already sniping at folks in camp and yelling at folks. So I think he's feeling the heat, literally, and the urgency. The Jets have struggled to block last year. I mean, they had a lot of injuries, but they finished with the second worst overall grade in the whole league, which is not good. And their first round pick for Shanu is probably going to be on the bench for the entire, if not the majority of the season. So you got to rely on Tyron Smith, who hasn't been healthy in quite a long time. Even when he was with the Cowboys, he had trouble there too. Morgan Moses and John Simpson in these names to protect Aaron Rodgers, 41, 42 years old. I guess he's the X factor in all of this stuff, which is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
If he's recovered and plays like a top 10 quarterback, you got a dangerous team in the AFC. Should it happen? Perhaps. I don't think I like Mike Williams that much. I've seen him with the Chargers so much. I'm like,
and he's already hurt, right? Or is he just still hurt? I don't.
I think it's more like a still situation, but it's like, I mean, you got having Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson are they studs out there. Yeah, Mike Williams is supposed to help. If he's even moderately healthy, that'd be good. But he has too much skills and measurables to be underachieving this much. But Rodgers, if he's healthy, he can make chicken salad. You get it. He can make it work.
Yep.
What you got for the Jets?
All right, so you stole my answer, so I'm going to go ahead and give you different ones, but these are my second choices. So
you ain't got to change something.
No, because I mean the defense. That's what I didn't want to say defense for my strength, so I was trying to break it down. And I mean they were second in pass yards, and you got Sauce Gardner, so I'd gone with that. But I love the Williams brothers, and we love Q, Quentin especially. So I'll give that as far as your line as the strength for them. Weakness, I wanted to say offensive production because they do have names out there. They just weren't producing. So I'm going to say coaching instead, since that's one.
Oh.
I don't know that you can have one problem, like have a great defense and have one consistent problem for years. Yeah, I understand Rodgers is supposed to be your savior, but y'all had no backup plan. I don't feel like there were decisions made in games that were enough to get you by. And I don't know that that's a strength for that team. I feel like they're just being led by the name. So I'll give that as my weakness.
Yeah.
But you already stole mine, so that's why. I'm not changing my X factor, though. It is Aaron Rodgers. I don't see how there can even be, like another choice. If he returns, if he returns to MVP form, you've got a great team. Like you said, I didn't realize that until you said it, the fourth easiest schedule. It's all laid out for you right there. The Bills, you don't have no idea what you're getting with the Bills. So, if you overtake Miami, New England is still rebuilding. There's a great opportunity here for you. So if Rodgers comes to play in the defense, because you don't need a lot from him with the defense playing the way it is. They're not asking him to score 30, 40 points a game. They're just asking you to be competent most of the time. So Rodgers is your X factor.
Yeah, he's going to try, though. All right, what you got for SWX for Washington and the Commanders?
So the strength was just weird. I was like, I wanted to pick Dan Quinn kind of just because it's a new coach and maybe he can fix that defense. I didn't realize their defense was ranked dead last because they've made several high picks in defense. Or I was going to give it to the skill positions. They have some good names over there as far as their skill. It just doesn't seem like they were getting in production. So, yeah, it's like half-hearted. Maybe the skill positions, maybe the coach. I don't know. There don't seem to be a whole lot that I was looking at. And I already gave away my weakness, the defense. I mean, you've made a lot of picks, including a lot of Bama boys, so I need you guys to start producing. And it's just been bad. You're ranked dead last in all the categories. Like, I need some production, Your offense isn't great, but they're out there scoring, you're throwing 30, 40 times a game because you're always having them behind the 8 ball. So, X Factor, Daniels. You pick a quarterback that high. I always like for them to be able to sit. I don't know if he's going to have that opportunity. So he might get thrown out there earlier. So, and you saw kind of like with an athletic quarterback, you saw what happened to Richardson early. So protecting yourself is going to be one of those keys early on in the season.
And they don't have the same build at all.
No, Daniels is tiny.
It's night and day, and I mean that literally. Yeah, so that's my X factor as well. So I will leave that one there. The strength I have is the rushing offense. It's I honestly believe that the Commanders would have won more games had they had that taken care of. And that's when everybody was predicting them dead last and one of the worst. They still would have won more games than they did if their rushing attack was better. Brian Robinson, I like him, but it was not good. They were probably middle of the road rushing wise, but they really struggled. Seemed to lack a lot of plays to kind of accentuate their running game. So now having Daniels back is like, okay, so what's going to happen? I've seen this movie played out so many times. I'm like, okay, so this is a guy that he ain't afraid to run. Matter of fact, he thinks about it a lot. So if you don't have a functional running attack, you're gonna have your quarterback running a lot more. You put him in jeopardy. He should be protected because he's such a valuable commodity to your team.
Can I say something on that one real quick? Sorry, just to your point. Some of the players got into it last year with Eric Bieniemy over his lack of running plays and how much he threw the ball. So to your point, they have talent. B-Rob did a good job when he was given an opportunity. They just did not run the ball. And, I always had this thing I always say about offensive coordinators, why they throw the ball way more. They're trying to be creative and get their next head coaching job, and running is boring to a lot of them. And I feel like he would have been better served last year just calling more running plays and doing it. So to your point there, they have, I think, a decent running attack. They just decided not to utilize and throw the ball 30, 40 times a game. So
not good. So if they don't fix that one, you got a guy like Daniel. I mean, I feel the same way about Lamar Jackson. That's the same, but he has a propensity to run. And we talked about that on the show many times, and the injuries that got caused because of that. Right. Because of what they did with the running game, that's how I know that they're thinking about trying to extend Lamar Jackson's impact on the team by getting Derrick Henry to come in Baltimore. See, that's the kind of thing you do because you want to protect your quarterback and not have a so-called running quarterback run so much. And the Commanders haven't done that because we're still talking about B-Rob, and you can't name anybody else really. I mean, well, they got Austin Eckler, but it's like, but even though I like him, well, I actually love Austin Eckler, to be honest with you. I hate to see him, as a rival. I hate it so much.
Right.
But it's not really. It's not the kind of running back I would think they would want to have.
Right.
Based on what we're talking about, not a scat back kind of, more like a bruiser, somebody who go pound for pound between the tackles, but that's not who Eckler is. So I'm wondering how this is going to work out.
But that's more what B-Rob is, though. So I think that's probably why they got him as a tandem versus because Eckler definitely is more dynamic, more speed. B-Rob is kind of more on the tackles kind of thing. I remember watching him against Cincinnati running the ball like 30 times. He's okay with 2-3 yards on the thing. So he's a stoutly built man. So
yeah. I don't disagree. I guess I just envision something different for that kind of running back. I ain't saying B-Rob is not there, but I just didn't see that he's not on my top of my list of guys that I think fit that mold. But I think my weakness for this team is the run defense. I think we already discussed that already. They brought in some guys that are going to be like on 1-year deals, like I think Bobby Wagner from Seattle and Frankie Louisville. They got guys that are coming in and try to help out in the short term, but they ranked 31st in run defense. I mean, that's almost close to the bottom as you can get. But let's run down Tampa Bay real quick, and we'll go ahead and close out. So I'll start off with strength, weakness, and X factor for Tampa. This is going to be fun.
Yep.
my strength is going to be the secondary.
Okay.
Third best coverage unit in the NFL. They had a rough 10-game start, but they turned it around in the stretch from week 12 to the end of the season. They were pretty much dominant, mostly because of Antoine Winfield Jr., who definitely got his money, so he's going to be there for a while longer. There's a nice contribution from some young rookies on the team, some young players, which is good. I think that's the strength of their team. I think they know that. That's why I took care of Winfield. They knew that with a strength of their team, need to handle that. The weakness, Russian offense. They were super one-dimensional. I think with a quarterback like Baker Mayfield, you can't. It's almost the same thing we got finished talking about with Washington. It's almost the same thing. If you have that kind of one-dimensional running game, what are you forcing Baker Mayfield to do? You're forcing him to run. Is that what you want him to be doing? Or do you want him to stand up? Exactly. You don't want that. And they had a very poor, almost at the bottom of running blocking grade, and almost at I think 30th in rushing. So they got to improve the interior O-line for sure, but the Russian offense was abysmal. So I don't know all these predictions about championships and all these guys that re-signed and stuff, like there's some problems you ain't solving. With Wirfs coming back, he was there last year, so it wasn't like he's new. He was already there last year when they had that low grade. So you gotta solve the problems around him, and they haven't done that yet. So concerned about the Russian offense too. But the X factor, it's going to be Baker. What he did last year, the transition he made, and we talked about that on the show a lot. When he came back over, how he could be the Baker that we used to know, that be kind of just slinging it and just kind of just being haphazard. He still got that in him, but he managed it a lot better late last year. And they got a new OC who I don't know much about him. So I don't know what he's going to bring to the table there, but we're going to find out. So I think he's the X factor. If he plays moderately well with those weapons that they have, I think they can win the division, like you said earlier. So what do you have for SWX for Tampa?
So I went strengths. I went with wide receiver with Evans and Godwin. So I think that's a great tandem. When both healthy, and then so much of it depends on Baker. So it's like picking your wide receiver as your strength is never good when you don't know. Like, you can't pick your quarterbacks as X factor and your wide receiver as a strength, because then you're like, hoping for the best. But I still went with those two because you took the other one I was going to use for defense. So I'm giving you that one. I can't get away from the weakness on offense, though, with the run game. I mean, you look at their red zone, that worst red zone offense in the year. I mean, that's when you don't have a run game and nobody respects it. So everybody just drops back and waits to see what you're going to do. So that's pretty clear. And in the interest of giving you a different X factor, I'm going to go with the division, because Falcons could be much improved, with Kirk Cousins, or they could coach themselves out of games. You have no idea. Last year, they didn't know how to use their skill positions. The Saints have talent. They don't seem to want to rebuild. but you never know what they're getting game to game. So, but the only thing you can really count on is the Panthers. You should get 2 wins there, but everything else, it's like, who really knows? So I agree with your assessment of their X factor. I'm just going with a different one, so people don't get bored.
The Saints defense is elite.
Yes,
they better get ready for that.
Right, so you see what I mean? It's like it could be an interesting division, but for like all the wrong reasons. So
this is really going to be it right here. I think this Baker thing, because he's the one guy on this team that's like, you don't feel like he's going to be here forever. So everything he does in this, what I think he got a 2-year deal. I think it is what he does in this. Like,
that's it.
This right here. This is he had to audition again. That's sad to say at this stage of his career, but he's auditioning again.
Yep.
For potential another deal. Like, you better get this straight. This is going to be it. But awesome stuff, man. So hope you like enjoying the SWX, man. I think this is pretty fun. Gives us a chance to break some stuff down, some football down. Was it harder for you than the 5-pack?
Oh, definitely, because you have to really kind of get into each teams, and then some teams, it's like, did they have a strength? You know, it was like, wait till we do the Panthers. Like, what are you going to say their strength is? You know what I mean? So,
when does that come up? I think is that next week?
I might just be sick that one, or like I'll mute my mic. But you know, so some of them, it was definitely interesting, but it gives you a good look at teams. You know, like I said, I'm more of a college guy, so it kind of gives me a better look at the NFL guys. So definitely like it.
We'll be going with some college football stuff too. I mean, gotta let me know when you're ready for that. Not when the season starts, but you gotta let me know when you're ready to start going heavy.
August 31st, last week of August.
When the season starts?
Yeah.
All right, we need college football. We need to start next week then.
I'm enjoying the NFL stuff. I get enough college on mine, so I'm good either way.
Copy that. All right. So just to recap what we were talking about earlier in the show, as you can see, our dynamic has changed a little bit, and I wouldn't say we're auditioning. It sounds weird, but we've been Herb and Raj and both been trying to help us out with getting somebody to come in and be a frequent contributor or a mainstay as our third head in this 3-headed monster that we call That Monday thing. So if you're interested in doing that, you got to go through the gauntlet. You got to go through Herb and Raj.
Yeah, Raj is tough. He barely lets me get on our show every week. So,
and they're going to determine whether you are a fit for this show or not. So those are the gatekeepers right there. So we're going to reach out to us via DM on Twitter if you're listening on Twitter, or if you are able to reach out on Facebook, hit us up on Messenger privately, and we'll set some time to meet with you and kind of hear what you have to say and see if this is a good fit. And beware of Raj. Feed him at the door or else. I'm just kidding.
He's not you are. This is true.
Wherever you are, however you listen to that Monday thing, we thank you. Make us part of your morning, your day, and your week with your weekly mirror check before you change the world. We out of here, man. Check out the Herb and Raj podcast every Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. They're in the house talking college football, talking NFL. They do football very well. Check them out. Give them some love on the social media platforms and everything. And okay, what's going on? I haven't seen any conversation for the renaming of the show. Who can I contact in accounting?
The check is in the mail.
Are we really doing this right now?
The check is in the mail, Raj.
Are you really trying to get paid? We out of here, man. I messing with you, man.